Why is it cold in here? All right, you ready? Yeah. All right, so we back once again with another installment of Bizzaro World. I ain't got my official Bizzaro World intro music, background music, but this one I have to do for today. So today we I got a reaction to I was watching another show. Oh yeah. I got my lovely co-host, Kara Champion, in the building.
We love you, bro.
What's up, Dan? So yeah, I was watching a show and they used I only saw a little clip of this video that we're going to review, and I probably will totally destroy his name, but his name is where did I put it? Oh, Yuval Noah Harari. Now, one thing to note is that from my research and what I've been looking up, he's very, should I say, vague about his beliefs, sort of, kind of, from what I'm seeing. And let me switch that so it looks right. Yeah. But from what I'm seeing is he's an atheist or agnostic, or and the reason for me reacting to this video is because his current beliefs and what he believes is similar. His books are about the same thing. Like before we started filming, Kara asked me, why are we reviewing a video that's from 2014, basically 10 years old. It's because he still thinks the same thing. He's still, you know what I'm saying, he's still the same person. And this guy is in a room on a platform on a stage with the world leaders at the World Economic Forum. Now, you want to explain or read? I wrote down some stuff. I prepared some information on the World Economic Forum because I know a lot of people, they aren't familiar with what it is and what they do and why it is. So, well, I guess I don't know if it's actually. Oh yeah, it is. So yeah, read off a little bit of that and let them know exactly what they do or why it is. Just a little.
So the World Economic Forum is a nonprofit international organization that was founded in 1971 by Klaus Schwab. He is a German economist and engineer, and it brings together leaders from various sectors, including business, government, academia, and civil society, in order to discuss and address global issues and shape global, regional, and industrial agendas. It's best known for its annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. And over the past 10 years, the World Economic Forum has hosted a diverse array of prominent figures as speakers and contributors who play a crucial role in shaping the discussions and influencing the agenda of the forum. And for the sake of this video, we'll be discussing Yuval Noah Harari.
Right. So all of that is very important information, because in this room, in this, people in the city or regular people call these networking events. You get together and you network. But these are all the, like she mentioned, a lot of, I forget exactly what you said, but it was basically a lot of people, a lot of people from the different sectors in the world, from economics to environmental and to business, government, academia, civil society, all of the dignitaries. You have the how you say King Jong-un. Am I massacring it?
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, him. The Bill Gateses, the Elon Musk, all of the world leaders, the presidents, everybody has been a part of these. And this is where they're going, sharing ideas. And these are, these are the conversations they're having in order to shape tomorrow, shape the world, shape, this is the attitude, this is the mindset, this is the agenda, and it's a godless agenda. You know what I'm saying? So the piece that I saw was probably, I don't know, it wasn't even 2 minutes. It might have been 60 seconds. It might have been a minute. So I dug up the whole video. It's about 14 minutes, and we're gonna sit through it and react to it, because I want. So basically, a lot of this is a live code reaction. I don't know exactly where in the video the piece is that I saw, but I'll point that out. But I thought, the little piece that I saw, I wanted to hear his whole TED talk. I wanted to hear everything that he had to say. And yeah, and I wanted my wife to see it without any,
Bias or undue influence.
Yeah, or just in a natural reaction. You know what I'm saying? So feel free to tell me to stop, rewind, whatever, as we go through this thing. So. Okay. Well, yeah.
$70,000 years ago, humans were insignificant animals. The most important thing you need to know about our prehistoric ancestors is that they were unimportant animals. Their impact on the world was not greater than that of fireflies or jellyfish or woodpeckers.
So already off top, I guess the cat's out. This is basically, this isn't the part I saw, but this is basically he's saying the same thing. Like, and these are the people, these are the attitudes of the globalists, the godless Luciferian globalists. Like he said, humans were insignificant when God says that he created this earth and everything in it for us, for our survival, for our life, for our growth. And so, and I didn't even watch this. I didn't even know he jumped straight off the porch, straight into that. So, yeah. I think he said, what did he say? Basically, he made us equivalent to jellyfish.
That we were no more significant. So, but again, and this is giving him kind of the benefit of the doubt that, you know, you may think jellyfish have no purpose, but they keep the balance of sea life. You remove any part of sea life and it affects the rest of sea life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You overpopulate any part.
So did I
hit it over dominates and
so
still messes up the balance.
So did I hear him wrong? Because I thought I heard him say we were insignificant. Did he say we were no more significant than the jellyfish?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I heard him wrong. Okay. Okay. Let's rewind him back so I can make sure I hear him.
70,000 years ago, humans were insignificant animals.
No,
The most important thing
he said we was insignificant. Okay.
you need to know about our prehistoric ancestors is that they were unimportant animals. Their impact on the world was not greater than that of fireflies or jellyfish or woodpeckers. Today, on the other hand, we control.
So that is going to, I mean, if you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, it's with the understanding that all creatures play their own significant role, but also no more significant. So if everything's important, nothing's really important type of deal. They all have their own role in keeping the balance, none more important than the other. If you remove bees and mosquitoes and flies and any other insect, then things shut down. If you remove sharks out of the ocean, there's an imbalance of other things and the ocean shuts down. So it's insignificant, but has its own significance. So it's that how you approach that is going to be how much benefit of the doubt you were giving him in this context.
I feel that, but the benefit of the doubt for me kind of lessens because he didn't come out and say, like, he started off with we were insignificant. Not we were not more. He led into we weren't more significant than something else, but he said we were nothing off top. So that is for me and how I'm hearing and processing what he's saying, that's a demotion.
Well, and that's going to take watching the rest of the video to see, is he meaning insignificant in the sense in relation to how we interact with the planet now, or insignificant in relation to any other species that lives on the earth?
All right. Let's see.
All this planet. And what I would like to talk about today is how exactly did we reach from there to here? How did we turn ourselves from insignificant apes minding their own business in a corner of Africa into the rulers of planet Earth? Now, usually when we try to answer this question, we look for the answer on the individual level. We want to believe, I want to believe, that there is something special about me, that there is something special about my body, about my brain, that makes me such a superior creature to a dog or a pig or a chimpanzee. But the fact is that on the individual level, I'm embarrassingly similar to a chimpanzee. If you put me and a chimpanzee together on a lone island and we had to struggle for survival, I would definitely place my bets on the chimpanzee, not on myself. And this is not something wrong with me personally. I guess it's true of you also, that if they took any one of you, almost anyone, and place you on a lone island with a chimpanzee, the chimpanzee will do better. The real advantage.
What do you think about that?
I don't know that he's necessarily wrong, simply because we're not in We're no longer in a state where we fashion our own equipment. We go to the store to buy our axes and hammers and nails. Chimpanzees and other jungle dwelling primates make their own tools.
Mm-hmm.
They are used to living in that type of environment, building their own shelter, foraging for food, hunting, whatever, keeping themselves hidden and protected from predators.
Mm-hmm.
And us being two different species, we are not in a position to work together to get from point A to point B. We are in direct opposition to one another. And so until some sort of, alliance is formed, that if I find something, I'm giving you part of it. If you find something, you're giving me part of it. We're helping each other out. I am in direct competition for resources as a lone being with this chimp.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to be aggressive to protect all of his resources because he has no one else around to assist and help protect. And he is naturally going to be about 10 times stronger than either one of us, at least.
But we're not smarter?
It's not that we're not smarter. He is designed for that environment. You aren't. In the sense that we have moved away from making our own tools, building our homes from scratch, building them literally from the things we find outside.
I mean, but that's assuming that the chimpanzee, where does the chimpanzee come from? Does he come from the zoo? Does he come from,
even if he comes from the zoo, the fact that his brute strength is just is greater than ours as humans. If you found something and he wanted it, either you're gone or he's just taking it. He's either going to kill you and take it, or he's just going to take it.
Or I'll outsmart him.
Maybe, but he's going to be faster and he's going to be stronger. He's going to be able to get up and down trees. Anywhere you try to hide, he can get to too. That's his world, not ours.
Then why are we the kings?
I'm not saying that we aren't smarter. If you were able to build a house, I'm not saying that you couldn't build something that could withstand his ability to get to. I'm not saying that you couldn't create and design an item that could stop him or put him in his place as far as being submitted to you. However, if you don't have that level of intelligence, if you don't know how to do those things as just a typical normal person, you're not really in the best position to outsmart him.
I don't know. I mean, at some point that was a reality. At some point there was man, there was animal, and man had to conquer animal. That already
in a clan state. In a clan state.
Not necessarily. Even if it was in a clan state, the animal clan was stronger than the human clan, and they probably repopulated more and faster. So it was more of them.
You have the collective intelligence of humans that is greater than the collective intelligence of the animals. You are in a one-on-one situation. That animal is faster than you. He has lived his life in an environment like that.
Maybe
you haven't.
Maybe
even if he's lived his life in the zoo. That would be the one thing that might allow him to be able to think that you were going to be a working together sort of situation, because the interactions they've had with humans have been relatively positive.
But you're also, in that thought, you're also stripping the human down to not knowing anything.
I'm not saying you don't know anything.
What do I know? What do the human know?
I'm saying if you don't know how to do these things, like if you were to take me and just put me out there, in theory, I know how to do these things. In practice, not so much. And I have no other human to rely on. So if you're putting me out there, me is me today versus
I'm whooping that chimp.
Versus wild chimp.
I'm whooping that chimp.
Okay.
I'm whooping that chimp.
That sounds good, but thinking at it from a logical perspective, that's probably not true.
From a logic, all I know is that man did it before.
Yes.
That's I don't know. That's
Even when you look at various things that needed to be done, people had specific skill sets. They were working together as a group. You have your skills, I have my skills. Let's bring them together to create XYZ. You are a lone human with a lone chimp. I'm assuming based off of his commentary, he's talking about a wild chimp, not something from the Cincinnati Zoo that's been loved and, petted and cared for by humans its whole life. He's talking about the wild chimp that has done this his whole life.
right.
He has foraged his whole, you don't even know where to find food. Do you know have you done your plant research to know what's poisonous and what's not? To know what you can eat and what's not? Even if you can't eat it, how to get to the part that you can't eat?
I know how to fight.
Play the video.
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna beat the chimp. I don't care what you talking about. I'm gonna beat the chimp. You know what I'm saying? Don't count me out, darling.
Of humans
Then I'm
is in
gonna
their
come and find
unique
you.
ability to cooperate flexibly in very large numbers. They are the only animals that can do that. There are some other animals, like the social insects, the bees and the ants, that can cooperate in quite large numbers. But they do so in a very rigid way. They're inflexible in the way that they cooperate. If there is a new opportunity or a new danger, the beehive cannot change overnight its social system, the way that they cooperate, say, execute the queen and let's have a republic of bees. They can't do it. They are rigid in the way that they function. There are other social animals, like wolves, like dolphins, like chimpanzees.
And they do execute their queens, as you said, but that would add more to the human, is that we can change and adapt. The chimp ain't changing and adapting. He's programmed to do and be exactly that.
Right. He's judging off of his basic instinct, something that has been bred out of you as we move through time and get more comfortable in societal life. The life of the chimp has not changed from however BC to today, except for the move from the wild to the zoo. But the average life for primates out in the wild is unchanged.
So
our lifestyles have changed from the time of Adam to today.
So for the sake of the champions, that chimpanzee come from the zoo,
then we would probably be in a situation to be able to work together, because he's going to have a relatively trusting and, docile relationship with humans.
right?
But your average, either mistreated chimp from the zoo or, from some sort of poaching operation or out in the wild, is not going to have that same relationship and is going to have a protection mode thought process of, okay, maybe not initially, okay, what is this? Looking around, trying to find other like creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he can't find those, now it's a fight for resources, because there's only you. There's not several of you going out looking for food, while several also stay home and take care of the baby monkeys, while several also go through and build the sleeping quarters and whatnot. So everything is a fight. If I find food, I can't walk away because you may come and take my food.
Right.
If I find some place to sleep, I can't walk away because you may take my place to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Chimpanzees, that they're much more flexible in the way that they cooperate, but they can do so only in very small numbers, because cooperation among wolves or among chimpanzees depends on intimate and personal knowledge, acquaintance, one of the other. If I'm a chimpanzee and you're a chimpanzee and I want to cooperate with you, I need to know who you are. Are you a good chimpanzee? Are you an evil chimpanzee? Are you reliable? Are you a cheat? If I don't know you, how can I cooperate with you? Humans are the only ones that can combine the two abilities together, cooperate very flexibly, much more than chimps, but in very large numbers, especially with large numbers of strangers. 1 versus 1, we may not be superior to chimpanzees. But if you place 1,000 humans and 1,000 chimps together on a lone island and they have to struggle, then the humans will definitely win, for the simple reason that 1,000 chimpanzees cannot cooperate at all.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
if you now
Yeah, you did.
take 100,
They're no different than any other. I mean, even look at lions. They can cooperate together, but when the pride gets too big, you have to kick some of the members out. You get one alpha in any animalistic situation. You have one alpha. Even in the situation of bees being able to work together in a large situation, your alpha is ultimately your queen to a certain extent,
Mhm.
because she is responsible for producing the next queen.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and the role of every other bee is to protect her unless she's not producing the offspring necessary to keep the hive moving along.
Mhm.
And then you have the same type of revolt you'd have in a human society.
I feel like he's just reinforcing my point. He's removing, he's isolating the human. I feel like the same. I feel like might not be the same average or whatever with one-on-one, but I still feel that I'm talking about a capable man and a chimpanzee. I believe the man has the upper hand. Maybe not physically, but in every other way.
That chimp has a heightened sense of hearing. Has
Those
a hyper sense of smell. So even if you try to hide, he's going to be able to find you.
if you get the right, if it's the right man, maybe he ain't hiding. Maybe he hunting the chimp.
Maybe.
I mean,
but that's going to rely on him being dropped off on this island, and the first thing he chooses to do is make weaponry.
Yeah.
Most people, that's not the first thing they're doing. Most people, the first thing they're doing is trying to find some sort of shelter, trying to find food, trying to create fire, survival mechanisms. Most people are not stepping onto an island thinking, okay, I have another animal on this island that is much stronger than me, much faster than me, more powerful than me, and knows how to survive in a jungle-esque situation. Most people aren't coming into the situation with that knowledge.
I feel like he's presenting a false dilemma, though. I feel like he's presenting that either the human wins or the chimp wins. Not even that there's a possibility that they work together.
But the ability to work together is based on an intimate knowledge and understanding of one another, which is why if a chimp comes from a loving environment within a zoo where they've had positive relationships with humans,
mm-hmm.
the likelihood of you two being able to work together to make this work for both of you
mm-hmm.
would be much more feasible than a wild chimp and a human.
Yeah. I don't know. So you feel like he's saying that he's giving all of those three perspectives that I think he's either or. I don't think there's a middle.
No, I don't think he's necessarily saying that. I think his personal opinion is it's
the
either
chimp
wins
right.
or the human wins, and the likelihood is that the chimp will win.
Right.
But I mean, I think he's also coming from the assumption you take your standard chimp with your standard human.
Mm.
He's not coming in here with, and he's presenting himself,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying based off my skills, my abilities, what I can do in the world,
mm-hmm.
this would be my, let's
he did consider himself. So yeah, you're right. So not considering somebody else, he's probably
we're not putting Chuck Norris out here with the chimp. It's the average person. Okay.
Chuck Norris.
We're not putting Liam Neeson out here with the chimp. Like, these are regular people who live regular lives.
Chuck Norris said he don't do push-ups. He pushed the world down. All right, okay. See, that's what this is good because you helping me to see and hear maybe things that I'm already going into like, he hates us.
All right, you gotta reserve your judgments until you've heard the whole story.
1,000 chimpanzees and cram these 100 humans will
So
definitely win.
you're also what you said previously that we were able to, subdue animals. We were subduing animals in bulk.
Mhm.
In the original involvement of people and animals, you're coming straight off the Garden of Eden where
Mhm.
they were automatically subdued to humans.
Mhm.
And as time goes by, as we're not dealing so much with the wild animals and they are off on their own, they're not running into situations where they necessarily know that they need to stay away. They may or may not know these things depending on the, climate or, the area that you're coming from. If you don't have a lot of poaching and basically your wild animals are left to live their lives, they may not be super familiar with humans and protecting themselves from humans. They're protecting themselves from other predators.
Yeah.
And when you put a collective of humans together, you have the intelligent mind, you have the consciousness, you have the ability to think past yourself and your immediate needs in order to plan.
Mhm.
Most of your wild animals have a natural instinct of planning in the sense that this is how it's always been. This is the rule base we're following. We're not deviating from what we know always works.
Yeah.
But that only works when you have a group. You've taken this animal out of its group and it now has to figure out how to work on its own. And it doesn't know if you are part of its group, could be part of its group, or if you're going to be a danger to its survival. And at the end of the day, the only thing it's working on is its basic instinct to survive.
Yeah.
And you pose a threat.
For the simple reason that 1,000 chimpanzees cannot cooperate at all. And if you now take 100,000 chimpanzees and cram these 100,000 chimpanzees into Yankee Stadium or Wall Street, you will get chaos, complete chaos. But if you take 100,000 humans and cram them together into Wall Street or into Yankee Stadium, you get amazingly sophisticated networks of cooperation that are the real basis for human dominion on planet Earth. Take even this talk that I'm now giving in front of you.
So how is he saying that we were insignificant? Like, when did we become not insignificant?
He said that initially we were just like every other animal, just off minding our own business, doing our own thing.
He's supposing. He's assuming.
Yes, he's probably coming from the presupposition that the Big Bang Theory is what started the Earth, and we came from swamp goo and evolved into humans. And so in that respect, and he's even talking about 70,000 years ago, in that respect, yes, that's how that probably would have worked out.
Yeah.
I don't know most of you. There are about 200 people now in the auditorium. I know maybe 2 or 3 of them really well. All the others are basically strangers to me. I don't really know the people who organized this event. Yes, I've met them once or twice for rehearsal and so forth, but I can't say I really know them intimately. I certainly don't know the people who invented this microphone and this computer and this camera which we are using. I don't know the persons behind the cameras, which are now taking footage of what I say. And I don't know the people who might be watching this talk over the internet, somewhere maybe in New Guinea or New Delhi or Buenos Aires or New York. Yet all of us strangers cooperate together in a very flexible and sophisticated way to create this global exchange of knowledge. This is something that chimps don't do. You will never catch a chimpanzee standing in front of an audience of 200 other chimps and giving a talk about bananas or about humans or something. Only humans do such things. It should also be said, however, that chimps not only don't give talks to strangers, they also don't have prisons. They don't have concentration camps. They don't have slaughterhouses. They don't have arms factories. Cooperation is not always nice. Often when we think about cooperation, we think about
I mean, all the stuff he just named, all of the organized evil that humans do, animals just do it in the wild naturally. So,
But you don't have prisons and concentration camps, because and we'll just continue with this scenario, if your chimp family decides that you are not part of the group, you either get killed, which is the most likely scenario, or you are forced out. And you have to find a new family or create your own, find another lone chimp and create your own situation. So you're either exiled or you're killed. So there's no need for a prison. And when you get pushed out, you know better than to come back. This isn't a situation where it's like, oh, can I come back in a month? Like, I'm gonna try my chances. You know that because you've been pushed out, you are not welcome. Point blank, period. End of story. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200.
Sesame Streets and teaching children to cooperate together, but all the terrible things that humans have been doing, still are doing in the world, they too are the outcome of this ability to cooperate flexibly in very, very large numbers. Now, suppose I've managed to convince you that the secret of success of our species is this ability to cooperate flexibly in large numbers. The next question that immediately arises in the mind of an inquisitive person is, how exactly humans do it? What gives us this ability to do something no other animal can do? And the answer is our imagination. Humans cooperate flexibly in large numbers because humans can create imagined realities together. All other animals use their communication system.
So did we gain this ability to imagine initially, or did we get it from somewhere? See, because he's kind of
It's part of the evolutionary process.
We evolve metaphysically, because imaginations and thoughts are metaphysics. If he's a materialist or whatever, that's that flies in the face of what he has to say also. You know what I mean? I mean, even imagining, and I guess I'm going here without him explicitly stating his spiritual or supernatural idea or concept of the world, but from, like I said, from my research, he's agnostic, atheistic. He's a materialist. All of these religions or whatever are human constructs, God, all, you know what I'm saying? So where do you get imagination from? If
it's part of most likely it's part of the evolutionary process, and through trial and error, finding things working, you then breed that into your children. You completed trial and error, you found things that worked, and through this you taught your children to try things, see what works, see what doesn't, keep what does, remove what doesn't. And as you continue through the generations, you continue to teach and then naturally evolve into that being something that happens just on the offset. As soon as you're born, your mind starts creating.
Yeah.
In order to describe reality, a chimpanzee can say, look, there is a lion, run away. Or look, there is a banana, let's take it. Humans can use their language not only to describe reality, but also to create new realities, to create fiction. A human can say, look, there is a lion, or look, there is a banana. But a human can also say, look, there is a God above the clouds. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, God will punish you. And if you believe this fictional story, then you will do what you are told to do. And this is the secret behind large-scale human cooperation.
I think
his belief.
there's this declaration, there is no God. God is fictional. Okay, exactly.
As long as everybody believes in the same fictional stories, everybody obeys the same laws and the same rules and the same norms. And this is something that only humans can do. You can never convince a chimpanzee to do something for you by telling him, look, if you do what I tell you to do, you know what will happen? After you die, you'll go to chimpanzee heaven. And there you will receive lots and lots of bananas for your good deeds here on earth. So now do what I tell you to do. No chimpanzee will ever believe such a story. No chimpanzee will ever be willing to do anything for you in exchange for such promises. Only humans can believe such fictions. And this is why humans control the world, whereas chimpanzees are locked up in zoos and research laboratories. Now, you may find it possible to accept that in the religious field, cooperation is based on fiction. That a lot of people, a lot of strangers come together to build a cathedral or a synagogue or a mosque or go on crusade together because they all believe the same stories about God and heaven and hell and so forth. But what I want to emphasize is that exactly the same thing happens in all other fields of human cooperation, in the legal field, in the political field, in the economic field as well. Take the legal field as an example. Today in the world, many, maybe most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story.
And this is the part of the piece of the clip that I saw. He just said human rights are a fairy tale. You don't have any inalienable rights given by God.
He doesn't believe in God, so
Right. So the point, so the reason why we're reacting to this is because this is the thought. These are the thought, and is this your thought king? Bizzaro World episode 3. Is this your thought king? You have no human rights. This is what they think. This is what they believe. This is these are the minds, the philosophers, the people in these rooms with these world leaders that's building these ideas and trends and cultures, making it where we can be a climate criminal in the near future if we don't have the right carbon footprint or whatever. And he's basically saying the earth, the germ, the gnat, the spider, the chimpanzee is just as important as we are. We're nothing. It's like that's a dangerous idea, and he seems, he's speaking, like
I mean, but based off of his belief, what he's saying is accurate.
Based off his belief.
Mm-hmm. Based off his belief system, what he's saying is actually accurate. If you don't have someone who gave you any sort of morality, then really it's just a bunch of people who threw their opinions together and agreed. Those don't make them right. They're completely arbitrary.
Right.
And they can be changed over time. So you don't actually have any rights. Your rights are tied to the thoughts and opinions of the day and who's willing to come together and agree on them. And because he's having, he's constantly in a position to talk to world leaders, he's constantly in a place to be able to suggest and push a more agnostic / atheistic, and I would lean more towards atheistic than agnostic viewpoint, because when you have people who agree, if you can get them to agree that there is no God, that is the step, that is the first step, then you can get them to agree that because there is no one who created these moral laws and who created the rights that you are naturally endowed with, then they don't actually exist. And if those don't actually exist, then you as a person are subject to whomever decides to step into power, whomever is able to step into power. And with that, you can get the whole idea that they've been pushing for quite some time, that you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. They can push you into, whatever place, the push for socialism, the push for, agendas like that, they can put you into a place and you'll be perfectly happy about it because you don't actually have any actual rights.
Yeah, but see, and to add to what you're saying, see, I peeped what when he said human rights are no different. He said, well, he started off with the idea or the comment about churches or religious corporate religion, and it's based off some fairy tale idea about a God in the sky, and that's where you get your ideas and morals from. He said it's no different than law or lawyers or this, that, and that. It's like, no, business is based off of metrics. It's based off numbers. It's based off of tangible things. So I don't even know how he's doing that.
But it's yes and no.
Okay.
Because in business, you have ethics. And if you have no rights, you have no true morality, you have no ethics. In law, if there is no true definition of right and wrong, there is no law.
Well, he was saying this. I thought he was saying law as it pertains to, I don't know, lawyers or corporate or banking or anything. All of those things, whether you're atheist or Buddhist, it's based off of numbers. It's based off of math that you can't run away from.
It's based off of your ability to imagine and work together, based off of a standard.
But
when you remove the standard, if your imagination is fake, if you were able to just create all these things that don't actually exist, then none of the things that you've created actually exist. They're only there as a means to perpetuate somebody else's imaginations. And so when you feed into your own imaginations and stop relying on the groupthink that has been created, and you have to imagine, you have to understand that banking, law, business, all of that is in the Bible. How you deal with people in business is lined out in the Bible. How you deal with people legally is lined out in the Bible. How, like, your sense of ethics is, all of that stuff is lined out in the Bible. So if God is an imagined being, he's not real, he doesn't exist, then everything that we have, the foundational truths that we've set all of these things on, how we deal with people financially, how we deal with people morally, how we deal with people ethically, how we deal with people in business, how we deal with people in law, none of it actually exists because it's based on the central idea that there is a God and there is a moral and ethical foundation.
Yeah, but he is speaking as though they exist, though.
No, he's speaking as though we have come together and just imagined these things. And so if we can get to a place where we understand that these are just our imaginations, these are just our own musings that we have sat down and decided that are okay, if we can understand that, then we can get out of it.
And go where? I guess we gotta find out, huh?
That would so he has. I should clarify. He hasn't stated this, but that would be the next logical step in what he is saying.
Okay, let's back up a pinch.
Just like heaven and like God, it's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story, it may be a very attractive story, we want to believe it, but it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also. Take a human, cut him open, look inside, you find their blood, and you find the heart and lungs and kidneys, but you don't find there any rights.
He don't live that
The only
way. Though.
place you find rights is in the fictional stories that humans have invented and spread around.
He don't
And the
live that
same
way.
thing is also true in the political field.
In the same way that people may not believe in the way the government deals with money and the way the government deals with taxation on businesses and individuals and how much money you have, X, Y, Z. It's they may not like it, but where you have the ability to take advantage, you're going to, because at the end of the day, it still works in your favor. He would be no different.
Yeah.
He has the position that you don't have any, rights that just come because of the fact that you're human and not a chimpanzee. But because the world has agreed that these exist, I'm going to use them to my full advantage.
Which is
they keep me from having to be like the chimpanzee and fight for my place in society, my place in, the food line, in the pecking order, in the hierarchy.
so his whole smarty intellectual conversation is really just stupid. It's stupid. You don't live this way. This is not reality. You can't even recreate this. You've never seen it. It don't exist. It can't exist. So the point of what you're saying is what?
Let's see. In my opinion, the next logical step is if we can get people away from believing in biblical truth, move them and for the most part, it's really getting them to move away from any sort of religious standard, because most of your religions do have some sort of morality and way you're supposed to deal with people. Doesn't line up across the world, but it across cultures and religions and whatnot. But on most of your big hit topics, they're going to be relatively in line. And so if you can get all people to come away from all religious views and ideas, you can move them into more of a chaotic state, and then you can implement a system that's kind of like Planet of the Apes. But with humans still being on top.
Let's see where you're going.
States and nations are also, like human rights and like God and like heaven, they too are just stories. A mountain is a reality. You can see it, you can touch it, you can even smell it. But Israel or the United States, they are just stories, very powerful stories we might want to believe very much, but still they are just stories. You can't really see the United States. You cannot touch it, you cannot smell it. But the most successful story of all
depends on where you go. Some of the United States stinks.
Probably is the story of money, which is one of the main foundation of our economic system. What is money? You take this green piece of paper, say the dollar bill. You can't eat it, you can't drink it, you can't wear it. It has no value. But then come along these master storytellers, the great bankers, the financial ministers, the prime ministers, the presidents, and they tell a very convincing story. Look, you see this green piece of paper? It is actually worth 10 bananas. And I believe it. And you believe it. Everybody believes it. And as long as everybody believes it, it works. It really works. It enables us to construct extremely sophisticated networks.
In this situation, that green piece of paper didn't start out as essentially an arbitrary piece of paper. It was legitimately backed by silver and gold, precious metals, precious gems.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a means to keep your precious metals safe, so that in the offset that you had to retract all of the paper dollars for whatever reason, there was still the precious metals, precious gems that you could exchange for those paper dollars that no longer mean anything. And now we've gotten to a place where we have overprinted so much money that it is no longer backed by those standards. And so now we're in a situation where here's a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Oh,
It's a dollar.
this ain't no real dollar.
How do you know?
Cause I can't
It's
spend
backed
it
by
nowhere.
it's backed by just as much gold as your paper dollar.
Give me them real dollars you stole off the dresser. No? I'm telling the people you be robbing me.
Of economic cooperation, which, as I said,
About where you leave your money.
Huh?
Maybe you'll be more responsible about where you leave your money.
gave us, and not the chimps, dominion over the world. And money is really the most successful story of all, because it's the only story everybody believes. Not everybody believes in God. Not everybody believes in human rights. Not everybody believes in the United States. But everybody believes in money. And everybody believes in the dollar bill. Even Osama bin Laden. He hated American politics. He hated American religion. He hated American culture. But he had nothing against American dollars. He was quite fond of American dollars. This is the most successful story ever told. To conclude then, humans control the world and not any other animal, because humans live in a dual reality. All other animals, they live in an objective reality. Their reality consists of objective entities like rivers and mountains and trees and lions and elephants. We humans, we also live in an objective reality. In our reality too, there are rivers and trees and lions and elephants. But on top of this objective reality, we humans have constructed a second layer of fictional reality. A reality consisting of stories, of fictional entities that exist only in our own imagination, entities like states, like money, like human rights, like gods. And the amazing thing is that as history went along, the fictional reality became more and more powerful. Until today, the most powerful forces in the world are these fictional entities. The very survival of rivers and trees and lions and chimpanzees today depends on the wishes and decisions of fictional entities like the United States or like Google or like the World Bank, entities that in fact exist only in our common imagination. Thank you.
Rubbish. He just said a whole bunch of real tangible things exist and are dependent on imaginary things. What? How? That's dumb. That's dumb. And if it only exists in our mind, how is it consistent in your mind and in my mind? If there's nothing.
Because we believe the same imaginary story.
But
it's like we've both read the story of Cinderella along with two other people. We believe the story of Cinderella is true. The other two people believe it's just a fictional story. It's got cool morals and ideas and whatever in it, but at the end of the day, it's still a fictional story. That's how you and I are able to believe what he calls an imaginary truth or a fictional reality.
The problem with that, and the reason why it's stupid, is because how did you arrive there without these metaphysical truths, these imaginary, like, how are you even able to communicate what you're saying if everything is really like
people are always willing to forego the things that don't match what they're trying to spit out.
Yeah.
People are always willing to overlook the inconsistencies in their story, because if you can get enough people to think like you, then there's a lot that you can do with that. Look at the Tower of Babel. They all spoke the same language, and because they spoke the same language, they were able to collectively work together to build a tower up to the heavens. And God said, "Nah, big homie, that's not what we're doing today. Confuse the language and spread them out."
Let's look at this. Let's check this out. This is literally what we're doing right now. Isaiah 5, starting at verse 20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Right there, that is taking the truth and taking definition out of anything. You're redefining and taking away supernatural, fundamental, metaphysical, untouchable, unseen laws. We don't have to imagine that 2 + 2 is 2. Or
You mean 4?
Yeah. 2 + 2 is 4. It's just 4. No matter if you change the
wording in and of itself doesn't matter. This many plus this many equals this many.
Yeah. Exactly. So, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes. That's that.
Well, I mean, look at society today. We have essentially done what he was talking about. We have deconstructed these imaginary stories. And so people have the ability, instead of there being objective truth, people have their own truths. It doesn't matter that it doesn't match any sort of truth within reality. Your truth is different from my truth, which is different from your truth, which is different from their truth, which is different from Maverick's truth, which is different from the girl's truth. Like, when you can get people to believe that everything is based on imagination and nothing is based on any sort of objective reality, objective truth, objective standard, you end up in what we have today. You end up in the anarchy and chaos that we have in the world today. And if they can continue to spread it, we can end up in a situation later down the line where you own nothing and you like it.
That's where, I mean, because the World Economic Forum is that group of people. That's who we're talking about. We're talking about, the unmoved, the unseen movers, the unseen hands, and all of that.
Hold on. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and shrewd in their own sight. Woe to those who are heroes at drinking wine and valiant men in mixing strong drink, who acquit the guilty for a bribe and deprive the innocent of his right.
Yeah. We have no rights. Like, the whole way through that conversation, I'm like, okay, so the extreme of human rights is a fairy tale. How is that helpful? What are you
To the
proposing?
collective, it's not. To his own personal agenda and the agenda of the people in the World Economic Forum,
Yeah.
extremely.
Yeah, exactly. And these are
These are the same people who want population control. These are the same people who, you know, spend millions and billions of dollars in eugenics research. These are the same people who are, you know, trafficking children.
Mhm.
Therefore, as the tongue of fire devours the stubble and as dry grass sinks down in the flame, so their root will be rottenness and their blossoms go up like dust, for they have rejected the law of the Lord of hosts and have despised the word of the Holy One of Israel.
Yeah.
And these are musings, writings, whatever you want to call it, of somebody thousands of years ago, and we're seeing that come to pass today.
Yeah. This is the life. This is the world we live in right here. Like, yeah. So, yeah. Any other thoughts before we get on up out of here?
What do you want for dinner?
Lasagna. Yeah. So that's another Bizzaro World. Is this your thought, king? You have no human rights. The so-called assumed smart people of the world, like I said, how is that helpful? How is that edifying to people, to the world, to anybody that's watching? To, like, really, like, it sounds smart and intellectual, but it's stupid. It's stupid. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias. You know what they is. Crown of Glory 360, everything. And like we always say, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, always remember to be salt and light and walk in godliness.
Amen.
Peace.